So I'm going to talk a little bit about the newer Z2N flash for Nikon cameras. I have it attached to a Z50 at the moment. This is, to put it bluntly, a fantastic flash. I've used it a little bit, got a chance to play around with it, see what its capabilities are, and it is extremely capable. It has a lot of excellent features. It's easy to navigate. You can see by the screen on the back here, everything is nicely visible, easy to see. You can cycle through it very simply just by pressing the mode button if you choose to shoot on TTL mode, which is obviously a popular flash mode to use. Let the flash decide what to do, and you can adjust it by, a third of a stop by a simple turn like this. Every single little click of the turn will adjust it by a third of a stop, so you could dial in the automatic TTL mode more precisely with what it is that you're seeing on the back of your camera as a result when you're taking shots, to sort of make sure that everything's coming in as you would want it to be to get the proper exposure. Conversely, you can either flick the switch on the side here for manual mode, or you could even just leave it in TTL like that and cycle to manual mode by pressing the mode button, and here you can adjust it per your desire. Adjusting the flash intensity, and it really works beautifully. Now, I particularly am a fan of this type of circular design for speedlights because they have a tendency to throw light more universally in every direction. So with the lights that are rectangular at the top, obviously they can be a little bit more directional in a sense, and sometimes that's advantageous, but in general I tend to prefer this design. And you can see that this comes with a diffuser, which is magnetic, easy to attach and detach and reattach like so. Of course, it's adjustable, so this can be moved in whichever orientation you need it to be moved in, so that you can bounce the light off of whatever surface you're attempting to bounce it off of. The throw is extremely powerful and clean. This is the nice thing about it. I'll show you some examples a little bit later of some pictures that I took, sample pictures. The thing that I like to note about one of the pictures in particular, one picture that I took of my cat, is I love the way the flash is able to match ambient light. So it doesn't look fake, it doesn't look like that kind of ugly flash look that you would get. Of course, it takes a little bit of practice with these speedlights to be able to get that correctly, and oftentimes, given the circumstances, you should try to bounce light off of surfaces so that you can get a nicer exposure. Nothing that is going to be harsh direct lighting. Of course, that is obviously a dead giveaway for flash photography, though flash photography does have some very interesting looks. And you can certainly be creative with how you try to apply them. The build quality of this Z2N is fantastic. I love this little locking mechanism here. You basically unlock it like that, and then you could pull it off, or you just conversely pull it over to the right side like that. Now it's locked in place. It's not going anywhere. It's just a very simply laid out, very easy to read, very easy to understand, even for beginners. I'm not an expert at this, I'll be honest. I have a couple of flashes, and I do use them from time to time, some that are quite good. I think this one is going to move straight to the top of my list of the best flashes that I have, and the one that I'm probably going to use most often. I was really impressed with it, and I really enjoyed using it. Like I said, because the usability is very simple to navigate. You have all the functions that you could want from this, be it second curtain. There's a mode, if you cycle through here on the M, you see now you're in RPT, which allows you to set the timing and frequency of firing flashes, so it can shoot off like a strobe type effect, that kind of stuff. So there's all kinds of different things that you can do to sort of expand your creativity when it comes to using your flash, of course. Easy to adjust the flash according to your lens. Right now I have my 50mm 1.8 on here, so I have it set for 50mm lenses. You just press the button, and then it highlights the option, and then you see it can choose whatever focal length you have. I'm going to leave it on 50, obviously, because that's what I'm using. And yeah, it's super easy to navigate. So fantastic build quality. Really impressed with it. Really impressed with it. My initial use with the camera and the flash together paired super easy. There was nothing to it at all. There was no setup required. It's really a plug and play thing. Everything works together seamlessly, and yeah, fantastic. So let's take a look at a couple of pictures and talk about that. Oh, before we do that, one last thing. I'm just going to mention what you get in the box. So you get obviously the flash unit. You get a lithium battery that comes with it, which is this huge battery pack right here. This should last a good long while. I've been playing around with this for a couple of days now and have not had to recharge it, and it seems that I've barely wasted any battery away. You get a USB charging base as well, of course, with the cord. I think it's a USB-C cord, if I'm not mistaken. You also get a mini stand that you could attach to the bottom of this, because this flash can operate not only as a slave but as a master. So if you have two of these, you know, you can leave one on top of the camera, and then you could have the other one off to the side, shooting light from a different direction. And of course, you attach the mini stand to it, or you can put the mini stand on it and then attach it to a tripod or a light stand, however it is that you want to set it up. In any case, you get a mini stand with it. You of course get this diffuser like I showed you before, which magnetically clips on. You get an adapter to plug it into the wall for charging, a protective case, and a manual. This is my cat Bo, and this is the first example photo we're going to use. He's a black cat, obviously, as you can see, so this presents a high contrast situation. This was taken at sunrise, so the sun was coming up over the ocean that you can kind of see in the background there, so it's very bright in the background, as well as white tiles. So I used the flash or the sync light, and I bounced the light off of the white walls that were around us to try and give an even exposure to Bo in the picture, and we could see that it came out beautifully. Now in this situation, obviously without the flash, if I was exposing for just the background, of course, he would have been completely dark. I mean, there might have been a silhouette, you might have seen his eyes, and that's about it. But obviously you can see with the flash, that gives us the benefit of seeing finer detail in his face, you know, so we could see his fur, we can see his whiskers, we can see his nose and other features and that kind of stuff. And it's a beautiful even exposure. And the thing that I was mentioning before about this newer this newer Speedlight, is that it's got a very clean quality of light. I don't know if this is applicable to speed lights, but with video lights, they refer to it as the CRI, color reproduction, I guess. And I could say that from my particular experience with it, the color reproduction is flawless. I mean, it's really clean. It sort of matches the ambient light, you know what I mean? So in a situation like this, it looks very clean. And obviously this is a sunrise situation, so you might say to yourself, well, the light is a little bit more orange in these circumstances. Well, that's where I guess you can start using things like gels to try and match that a little bit. But you know, because we're in the shade, being on my balcony, I found that it looked beautiful even without any types of gels or manipulation like that. This second picture was taken at around 6 a.m. The light, as you can see, is first light. The sun hadn't risen yet, and it is just below the horizon. So you're starting to get that first light. Now, you can see, obviously, the palm tree that's in this picture is completely illuminated. I left the Speedlight on TTL. I let the camera and Speedlight choose what the exposure was going to be, and this was the automatic exposure that it chose. Now, you can see how well the entire tree is illuminated and how much of the sand it even gets as far as like distance. And just to put in perspective, I was standing about at least 30 to 35 feet away from this particular tree, if not more, maybe closer to 40, 45 feet, something like that. So that is a super powerful speed light. It did an excellent job, and you can see the entire tree is illuminated. And the reason I point that out is because that also speaks to the shape of the speed light itself, having that circular pattern at the top. So it gives us nice throw of light so that it gets in every direction and acts as a great fill, you know. So you could see it's, in my opinion, obviously overexposed. It's kind of an interesting picture, I guess, to some degree, but later on, you'll see right now in this situation right here, I mean, you could, uh, you know, choose for yourself subjectively which one you think looks better. But basically, I threw it into manual mode after that, and I started dialing back the intensity of the speed light so that I can get it to a level where I thought it was nicely illuminating the tree without making it too distracting and too contrasting to what's going on in the background. So this is probably how I would expose it. Well, it's not probably, it is how I exposed it for what I think is a more pleasant look. But this isn't obviously a great scenario as to where you might use this speedlight. Having the contrast and perhaps having the entire palm tree in the shadows is a nice effect as well. But this is just to demonstrate the capacity of the speedlight. Imagine you had your girlfriend or your wife or your significant other in front of the camera, and you wanted to have them illuminated while at the same time preserving the highlights in the background of the sky. Well, this is how you'd be able to achieve that in a really beautiful and natural way. Later, as I continued my bike ride searching for subject matter to try and shoot in a high contrast situation, I found this beautiful cluster of flowers and decided to try and expose the flowers nicely while preserving, of course, the sunrise that had just come up above the horizon. And in my opinion, it's really, really beautiful. Now, obviously, this is a situation where I think gels would be very advantageous. If I had an orange gel in this circumstance, I could have matched the light better. I didn't have one with me. So, it is what it is. But at the same time, you could see how beautifully the flash exposes the flower to a degree. And obviously, I dialed this one in manually. I didn't leave this one on TTL. I tried one on TTL, and obviously, it completely overexposed the flower. It didn't have a nice sort of cohesiveness to the image. So I dialed it back on the manual mode. I don't remember exactly what setting I had it at this point, to be honest with you, but you can see that it does a very beautiful job of exposing the flowers and leaving the gorgeous sunrise in the background. And here's that image cropped, just so you can have a better look at the flowers. I just wanted to crop in a little bit on the flowers so you can see how lovely the light that comes off the flash is. And this is the flash obviously being pointed directly at the flowers. There is no opportunity for me to bounce it off of anything here, so I had to really illuminate the flowers directly. And I had forgotten the diffuser, so this is actually with the harsh light of the flash itself without any diffusion, and it still looked beautiful in my opinion. Again, would this have looked better with gels? Yes, of course it would have. If I had an orange gel, it would have looked better. But this is just to give you an idea of the capacity of the light, how nice and clean it is. To me, it's a really high quality speed light. I really am impressed with it. I've used some Nikon speed lights that are made by Nikon, and in comparison, I think this one is just as good, if not better in some cases, because of the interface, which I found extremely easy to navigate, extremely easy to understand. And if you have any experience with speed lights, you probably won't even need to read the manual to figure out what you're doing here. So, very impressed with it. I absolutely highly recommend it. I don't have anything bad to say about it, and I think it's a solid buy all day long.
Hey guys, today we're reviewing the NEEWER Z2-S with Sony cameras. This is TTL flash 2.4 gigahertz. I think it's 75 watts. It looked amazing. So let's open it up and see what it is about. All right, so let's see. The battery charger, USB-C. This is the battery. Those batteries are big. I read that it's good for 480 full power flashes. No idea how many of those. It is a big battery. It is a little pricey. There is no aftermarket battery for that, so you have to buy another one. I am planning on buying another one. Just keep a bit around. You don't want to run out of juice on your flash. So this is an AC adapter for your powering device. Here is the flash. What do we have here? This is probably a small diffuser. Okay. This is the stand. A bunch of manuals. And a USB key for you to charge your battery, and that's it. All right. Okay. There it is. The flash. It's big. It's really big. And it's all plasticky, which is fine. Most flashes are plasticky, so it's about 8 inches tall by about 3 inches wide. It's a big flash, but 75 watts needs to be big. There is no battery door. You basically just put in the battery and that's it. I find this convenient. I don't like those battery doors, so I'm going to release the battery. There you have it. All right. And TTL or manual. I always keep manual. Okay. Now you turn this thing on. Okay, so if you turn on your flash, you press the little button here on the sensor. There you go. You can use this wheel here to configure, and there you go, the intensity. So 1/220, and I think it's actually, so this is the lower possible intensity of the flash, and you can go all the way to the maximum intensity of the flash, which is 1. And at maximum intensity, it does take a while for it to be charged. Oh, wow, okay, it takes almost a second, but that's maximum intensity. Nobody should be taking pictures of maximum intensity. Every situation is different, but let's see at 128, which is something that most people are going to be using. There you go. So it's almost instantaneous at 128. So, and it probably will take a lot more than the 480 flashes at 128. This here, I find it very interesting. Let me remove this plastic here. This here is very interesting because it's actually set to manual. I think it's one of those buttons here. There's a million different little functions. There you go. So this is the button that will change this from manual to automatic. Here's automatic, so if your camera can communicate, hopefully I'm going to put my camera in here in a second, but this is where you would be changing the focal length. So if you're shooting at 28, the flash will power off for 28. If you're shooting at 50, the power will power off for 50 millimeters. And there's an amazing amount of settings and different things in the flash. This is not the video. This is not a tutorial video. This is just a review video. It is heavy. It is quite heavy, but, it's a professional flash, and it's supposed to be heavy. So let's power this thing off here so we can put it on the camera and see how the camera reacts to it. Let's see what's going to happen if I catch my shutter speed. There you go. We are taking pictures with flash. Fantastic. Now, let's go here. The flash, still flash, flash compensation, ambient only, it's not wireless. Oh, wow, and it's allowing my camera to take pictures at 1/60. I didn't think it would do that. So I know that one of those buttons here will change this. And another thing, it's a 35, so let's see if I can, yep, fantastic. So as you can see here, I have a 28 to 75 lens. Let's see if this focus. There you go. And 35, and I'm changing the zoom here on the lens, and the flash is compensating for that. There you go. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. That's really amazing. That's really amazing. Amazing. Yeah. Some work here. Okay. But it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's taking the flash is firing as it's supposed to. Again, it is a little heavy, but it is a professional flash, and that's what you need when you're taking pictures on a professional environment. All right, guys, so exceptional flash, there's a million different things you can do with it. Again, this is not a tutorial video, this is just a review video. It is big and heavy. I will probably be using a monopod to deal with that, but I'm really happy with what the flash is doing here. And why it doesn't 28, there you go. Yeah. If you want to buy it, it's a really good flash. You can't go wrong with it.